So there's a lot of confusion in the golf world of when swaying becomes a problem. But if you want to hit the golf ball far, you're going to have to sway, or what I call shift, in order to create the most club head speed. So when does a shift become a sway? Inevitably, I get people that come to me and they want to hit the golf ball farther, but at the same time, they're scared to death to move off of the ball. They've been told to keep their head down, keep their head still, and yet they're trying to create some speed. Well, imagine if you're going to try to throw a ball. If I'm a quarterback playing football and I'm going to throw to the running back, sure, I don't have to move very much. I can hike, take the ball, turn, throw. Not much move between my right and left. But if my wide receiver is flying down the sideline and I got to throw a 50-yard bomb to him, I'm definitely going to shift to my right and then move back to the left. And these principles apply to the golf swing as well. You need to move between your right and your left in order to maximize your club head speed. So when we set up to the golf ball, we want to feel like a little more weight or pressure is left to start. And then as you start your swing, you're going to shift to your right. It's really one of the first moves of long hitters, as you'll see, is a slight move towards their trail side before the club even moves. So when you make that motion of shifting to your right, you want to get loaded into that right side, and then as you move to the top, when a shift then becomes a sway, is that you keep moving to your right as you go all the way to the top of your backswing. Again, this is what I was told as a young adult trying to learn to play good golf is I wanted to load up at the top that right leg, and then from there I wanted to, as soon as I started down, I would slide back to the left and then make impact. But we now know that that's not really what the best players are doing. Yes, we want to move and shift into our trail side, and then as we move up to the top, roughly at about the time when your hands get to your chest, as you finish your turn, that's when you would start to move back. That's when the shift back towards the lead side would start to happen. Again, so when does a shift become a sway? If you shift to your right and then you stay there as you go to the top, or you continue to go to the top of the backswing, you continue to get more to your right, right? When shifting needs to go back to the target is what most people struggle with. They don't get back to the lead side fast enough. And so, again, when does the shift become a sway, or how much should you shift to your right, is really dependent on how you're able to move back to your left. So if you're a golfer that can move right early and move a lot to the right, and then still at the top of your backswing, recenter yourself and get back to where you are, then go have at it. Go ahead and get nice movement here this way. If you're a golfer that struggles with getting back to your left, you want to minimize how much you move to your right. And if that's you, you'd probably want to set up, if you're in the second camp and you struggle with getting back to your left, a good strategy for that would be maybe to start with a little bit more weight left. Instead of being, let's say, 60-40, you're going to go 70-30 or even 80-20. And what that'll do is that'll enable you to kind of push and then get a little more weight into the right. But because you started more left, you get less to the right, which makes it easier to get back to the left. Also, by starting with a little bit more than 60-40, starting a little bit more left, you have more pressure here. It's easier to create a little bit more of a push earlier in the swing. A fault that I see a lot of is golfers that set up, and they'll set up back here with their pelvis sitting back on their right side too much. And from here, again, it's hard to create any shifting motion because your pelvis is sitting back. So if it's already back, it's really hard to shift. So then generally the golfer will just turn. A good player will then learn to recenter and get more left at the top than they started, or the average golfer generally just stays back on the right and hangs back on their back leg. So you really want to practice turn your sway into a shift by, again, feeling how you move between your right and your left and the timing of it. Slow motion swings of feeling like as you go back, feeling a little motion to your right, and then recentering at the top. Just making practice swings like that, that should help you with that sensation and that feeling. Another good way to practice is the step drill, where you set up, put your feet together, get a little swing of the club forward, take a little step to your right, swing back. When you get about halfway back, you're going to feel your whole body shifting back to the left. When you're stepping, you don't want to just step this way. You want to feel yourself shift the whole body back to the lead side so that you can simply just, when that left foot hits the ground, you can really start to push up. Just take your normal setup, put your feet together. From here, hover the club above the ball. You just swing the club forward, and as you swing it forward to the knee or hip height, you're going to put your right foot back where it was. And then as you swing the club back, when the club gets to roughly about stomach height, you feel yourself fall back, pick that left foot up and fall back to your left side. And then as soon as that left foot hits the ground, your goal is to really push up and rotate around that left leg. So let's give it a go here. Normal setup, feet together, hover. And again, the timing of being able to get that left foot back down on the ground before you start down is important, and being able to get the whole body moving forward as opposed to just stepping with the left foot is important for that drill as well. And if you do that, you'll have the freedom to move a little right and left in your swing. You know, again, you think about movement and dynamic motion, thinking about staying still or staying down, like those things don't really create flowing motion. Right? And we want this swing to flow, and so to feel yourself just move a little right, moving a little left, it's going to not only help you create speed, but it's also going to help your rhythm and tempo in your swing as well. So you've been told to keep your head still because let's say as you move off to the right, what's going to happen? Well, if you move to the right and you stay back here, you're going to probably going to hit behind it a lot. So by feeling like you keep your head still, it's going to make it a little easier for you to make the contact with the ground closer to where the ball is, right? So again, that's just because you moved to the right and you stayed to the right, right? You didn't move to the right and then get back to the left at the top where you started. So and if you're somebody who keeps their head relatively still, you're just not going to create the club head speed. So then you're going to usually overwork your arms and really try to get a lot of speed and stuff with your arms and not really get it with more of what your pivot is. And when you do that, you try to get speed with your arms, inevitably, you're still going to hit behind it. Because you need the body really turning and rotating around that lead leg in order to get the ball and then ground contact. Another reason why when you move to the right and stay to the right too long is generally the pelvis will slide more to your right than your upper body does. So now you're tilted this way at the top. And as you start down there, you immediately start to turn your chest, but now you have to slide your lower body back towards the target, and that's creating that over-the-top motion, right? Whereas if at the top of the swing, you felt like your whole body was shifting to the left as you're coming down, then as you start, you can turn and rotate your pelvis from the top instead of sliding it forward. You could really feel yourself get back to the left, and then as you start down, like I said, turn and rotate, as opposed to have to push off with that right leg. Another reason the recentering process is so important is when we get to the top of the backswing, we've got roughly about 0.25 seconds to get to the ball. So from the top, if I'm pushing myself forward with my right foot as I'm coming down, that's going to make it very difficult for me to then push with my right foot to rotate myself around. But when we get to the top and then we recenter, and now from the top of the backswing, I'm more forward. As I start to turn and rotate, I can use this push from my right leg to rotate me around and get that right ball to get my right knee past the ball and hit the ball, then the ground first. If I'm up here this way and I'm pushing myself this way, like I said, then my rotation of my lower body is going to generally be late. Generally what you see with better players that struggle with the recentering process or swaying, they stay on their right too long, is when they get to the top and they're back here on the right, they have figured out how to slide their whole body through, drop the club from the inside, and swing out. This gets a path that can be somewhat excessive from right to left and create a lot of curvature from right to left. Again, a good player can manage that, but when I see the average player trying to do that same motion, because the path is more from the inside and swinging so far out to the right, generally it brings in the ground earlier, or it even will bring in the hosel of the club and bring that in and start to create the dreaded S word. eliminate that by recentering, then you're able to, as you bring the club down and shallow on the club, able to rotate into the ball more. Better consistency of hitting the ball and then the ground, and also a much more neutral path down at impact. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. If you liked it, please click the thumbs up, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you want more information about me or you want some online instruction, I have a Skillist profile, which you can find the details below. So hopefully, I'll see you on some videos and help you play this great game better.